So today we're going to be talking about pension deficits and the truth of defined benefit pension schemes. So effectively, a pension deficit is exactly what it sounds to be. The pension scheme has made a promise to pay out capital, and then they have to look at what they actually have in order to pay out that capital over the course of time. So once a pension scheme goes into a deficit, as most final salary pension schemes are, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Doesn't mean that pension scheme is going to disappear overnight, but it's not exactly a positive to know that the person who owes you money is effectively in a deficit. If every single person inside that scheme tried to do a transfer out at the same time, effectively the scheme wouldn't have enough money to give everyone full CETV. So for a lot of clients, they're saying to themselves, well, I would rather get in early, get my CETV done until potentially at a later point in time, it gets a little bit more complicated when more and more people are drawing down from the scheme. So I'm going to be using a couple of statistics for today's telephone call, and there's some recent stats which came out at the start of the year in January time. So the combined deficit of UK pension defined benefit schemes against the long-term funding targets fell by 72 billion up to December 2021. Sounds really good. Pension deficits fell by 72 billion in the United Kingdom, but they're still at 309 billion. So they've gone from circa 380 billion down to 309 billion. Yes, that's a positive, but it's still a massive problem. And as we can see here, this is based on the fact that basically there's assets of 1.9 billion, but liabilities of 2.2 billion, basically currently speaking in terms of the schemes. What this means is that the long-term record at the moment is 86% of DB. 86% is the level that most DB schemes on average are funded to. So for every £1 million worth of exposure they have to pay you in pension income for the rest of your life inside a final salary scheme, they effectively have £860,000 in order to pay that 1 million. So what it means is they somehow need to fund that gap, the missing money. So a lot of the final salary schemes have been publishing this data because it looks really good, sounds really positive. We have to ask ourselves, why has the deficit gone down? How has 70 billion been wiped off the deficit? Is it because all of the schemes are asking their shareholders to redirect profits and direct to pay and compensation schemes to repay the defined benefit schemes? Possibly in a minority of situations. In the majority of the situations of UK finance, the answer is no. The reason is because interest rates have changed over that course of time. Interest rates have gone up. So we went from 1.25% to 1.75%, the biggest rise in 27 years in UK history. So what that means is clients' CETV values have gone down. Inverse relationship between interest rates to gilt rates, and then obviously CETV values. There's a number of videos on the channel that you can go and watch about that. So effectively, I almost feel like they're blowing their trumpet and saying deficits are down by 70 billion, this is fantastic. It's by default. The government has raised interest rates. As such, the long-term discount factors that you use when calculating what to pay someone for the CETV, which in my professional opinion and my personal experience seems to make up for about 90% of the difference in terms of CETV values, those interest rates and long-term discount factors have gone up, which obviously means that CETV values have gone down, which means you don't have to pay people as much in terms of current CETVs and what you might owe them in the future. So I feel like it's by default that this has happened rather than because they're doing a sterling job in terms of bringing the deficits down. So this doesn't mean that you need to run away from your DB scheme, but it is really important to understand what your current deficit level is and what do you think is going to happen over the course of the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Do you think those defined benefit schemes are going to take shareholder money and take director compensation to prop up the defined benefit scheme, or do you think they will allow it to continue to be unfunded for as long as possible? I'm also going to show you here the pensions regulator. They are effectively there to help DB schemes produce recovery plans. Now, the recovery plan, as you can see here, obviously discusses what they need to do, what the deficit is, what their restructuring plan is, and they have to submit their recovery plan to the pensions regulator. All sounds fantastic. However, with these reports and with the submitting of the guides, there's nothing legal here about the schemes having to close those deficits. It's like saying, what's your business plan to one of your employees at the start of the year? Oh yeah, this is my business plan. But if it doesn't say at the bottom, if you don't reach this business plan, you will be fired. It's like saying, this is what I would like to do. Okay, great. But if they don't achieve it, what's the outcome? Well, the outcome of the pensions regulator is they submit another plan, another recovery plan. Oh yeah, that one didn't work. We blame it on this, we blame it on COVID, we blame it on market returns, we blame it on X, Y, Z. But don't worry, now we've got another new plan and we're going to submit a new recovery plan to you. Obviously, the pensions regulator is doing the right thing. They're trying to engage with the schemes to make them understand and for them to submit these plans, which should be pushing them in the correct direction. But invariably, in my experience, big business, capital value and shareholder value always wins over retail clients' pensions. Guys, if you have any questions you want to understand about your pension, as I already mentioned, you can get in touch for free. You can also head over to our website to do some more due diligence on ourselves and Cameron James before getting yourself booked in to have a proper conversation about yourself and your pensions. Thank you very much, and as always, take care of your UK pension assets.